Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, YouTubers. Happy Sunday to everybody. I want to put a quick recap on some of the stuff that's happening on my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I need the 4,000 hours to keep my live stream going. Right now, I'm at 3,999.89 hours. I need someone to watch my channel for an extra second. And, okay, I got a few things I want to cover here. Some things, some of the biggest videos I did, Hate, Debt, Greed. A lot of it, I think, is stemming from the root cause of all this massive, I feel, dislike for everybody. People having enormous dislike for each other. No one smiling at each other anymore. This is stemming from when I lived in Vancouver for 10 years. And it's my opinion, is what I think. I mean, I don't hate people from Vancouver. I don't hate Vancouver. It's just the way I was treated when I lived there, I guess, was just, you know, maybe male, white. I'm 5'6", maybe because I'm in that bracket, you're automatically in a. I don't know. And so I want to go over this, guys, because it's really important. Because it is tearing the fabric of our society apart. Hate and hatred. Is it stemming from debt? Is it stemming from greed? Because the more people, the more wealthier the people are, the more the poor people do not matter to them, or the more that they don't care or don't matter to. You know what I'm saying? So sit back, relax. I'm gonna play this real quick for you guys. It's the top 10 reasons why I left Vancouver. So I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna adjust the audio here and lower my microphone volume so you guys could hear it perfectly clear. So if you haven't seen this video, check it out. But I'm gonna play it now in the show, and we're gonna read some of the comments on there, which are really important. Okay? Mike Martin's channel. Just in my kids' playroom in my new house. Dedicated this gigantic room on the main floor for the kids to play. I made a list. Top 10 reasons why I left Vancouver. And I had to scratch and add and scratch and add and say, oh, maybe this is more important than that, or maybe this could be more important than that, or oh, this is relevant, or does this resemble the other one I just said? Anyways, here's my top 10 reasons. I took the time to actually think it over and actually put something together, okay? Here he goes. Top 10 reasons why I left the city of Vancouver. Poor infrastructure. The problem is it's an older city, and I think the city was designed for 800,000 people max. And there's about 1,600, maybe 1.6 or 2 million living there now, and it's beyond capacity there. It's way beyond capacity. Gridlock, traffic. It's just can't handle the congestion. Number 9, cost of living. I didn't put it in the top 5 because there's other reasons why, main reasons why I left. I would have continued to live there, but the cost of living is beyond. It's more expensive than any other major city and class. Like West Palm Beach is 1/10 of the price. West Palm Beach, you could buy a house for $190,000, and then that same house here in Vancouver is like $4 million. So I don't know how you actually balance that out with the cost of living, right? So cost of living is way beyond. No bang for the buck. No bang for your buck there. Food's expensive, gas, everything that is anything is expensive. 8, massive English barrier at some institutions. Sometimes if I even go to a bank, very huge English barrier there. Big problem. And the problem is like, oh, well, learn other languages. I speak Spanish and Portuguese fluently. And it did well for me when I was in Miami and Florida, like different places where a lot of other countries take in immigration based on not how much money they have to come in, but more like, okay, start from scratch, buy a house, you know, put your kids through school, different type of immigration, and that's why it was so social and everyone was so talkative down south. That's why they call it Southern hospitality. But yeah, English barrier is a problem. I've went to a few places, and even the driving, some of those government driving places to get something done, and it's like the English was just horrid, and they couldn't understand me, so they said my English wasn't good. So, number 7, One thing that really bothered me the most was dangerous drivers. Oh, I hated dangerous drivers. Like, especially when you are driving 2 kilometers to get somewhere, or 3 kilometer distance, and you almost get into 11 accidents. There's a YouTube channel that backs me up on this called Vancouver Dashcam. The guy just nicely places the camera on his dash and films when he goes to work, and you could see him getting into like almost getting into 19, 20 accidents in a 10-kilometer trip to his work, or when he's just driving downtown on one. It's not like it's a compilation of videos where it's like 2 days later he gets this, then 3 days later he gets this on tape. It's just him driving there to there and almost losing his life several times. And it's called Vancouver Dashcam. I recommend you guys look at it. It's so bad. You risking your life driving, and now with me having kids in the back seat, in child seats, I'm not into that. Number 6, entitlement. The whole entitlement thing's got to stop there. The entitlement thing's out of control. The amount of people that are owed, like who's gonna owe it to all these people? The entitlement's way out of control. People walking in front of you, you're waiting for an elevator with a baby carriage, and you have these people walk in front of you and take the elevator and look at you like you've committed a crime. That has to stop, the whole entitlement thing. Or people making a lane change, and if you're next to them, too bad. You slow down, they put their signal on. You stop your vehicle, and you let them in. It doesn't matter if you're right beside them and they're on the phone. It doesn't really matter. It's entitlement. You need to know who's entitled and who's top of the heap. And basically the entire, well, not everybody, but a majority of the people walk around with this entitlement thing on them. Number 5, rain. The rain bothers me. It started bothering me the last 2 years. It rains 4 to 8 weeks straight in some months in the winter months. 4 to 8 weeks straight. I prefer a bit of sunshine and some white powder on the floor. 4, one thing I noticed living in Vancouver was a lot of people complained they were always broke. And I'm like, do you work? Like, yeah, I work 3 jobs. Why are you broke? Well, you know, my rent's this, and my food's that, and this and that, and at the end of the month I got nothing. That's hard. That's hard, man. That hurts. 3, this one's very important. Antisocial. The one thing I disliked about the city the most was just people being antisocial. Very antisocialness. People just get out of their way, or go out of their way to make sure they don't have to talk to you. And that fits in with dating. So like if you're a single guy and you're under 5'10", no one would touch you in the city. You'll have a girl 4'9", she wouldn't touch you if you're under 5'10". And that's the whole antisocial thing, is people go out of their ways to avoid you as much as possible. 2, fitting in. Don't know your neighbors. Fitting in is very important because I was there for 9 years and I couldn't fit in even if I tried. I'm here first week, I know all my neighbors, I'm hanging out, we're playing board games, we're doing things, and I'm in Vancouver for 9 years, and I just couldn't fit in there no matter what I did, or who I spoke to, or who I knew, or who I connected with. You can't fit in. That was my feeling. I mean, that's how I feel, so if other people could be having a way better experience than me, which is great. And number 1, hatred. I just hate the hatred. People, when you're driving in your car, people look at you from their other cars. The amount of hatred people have for each other, not just driving, just when you're approaching an escalator at the same time as someone else, they avoid to look at you. They hate, like they just don't, like you could feel. Okay, so that's the hatred thing. I want to stop right there, and I want to put this one on here now. This is the video I made. It had 79 comments on it this morning. Now it has 37. I don't know why a bunch of comments got removed, and I'm kind of upset about that because YouTube's going out of their way to make it look like no one's watching my channel, so I don't feel bad that they're gonna have to cut my live streaming. So I think what's happening is I'm losing views on a ton of videos The Vancouver Glare went up to about 900 views, almost ready to break 1,000, and it's back to 464. I don't know what's wrong or what I'm saying that's, you know, so look at this one. This is the Vancouver Glares. And then they look up and they do this. That's the glare. That's the look I used to get. Could it be my appearance? Could it be like the last person somebody wants to see is my face? Do I look like super scruffy, or do I look like somebody you just don't want to see? You know what I'm saying? That could be it, and that could be it the whole time. And you know, that could probably be what the problem is, right? And I am just making a big deal of it, right? For no reason. But let's read some of these why I left Vancouver top 10 reasons. And first person commented, says, I lived in Vancouver. Let me just adjust the mic volume here. I lived in Vancouver for 20 years. I honestly slowly fell apart about 2006. I did not fall out of love with Vancouver. It fell out of love of me. And then there's a bunch of replies on this. That's someone swearing there. Then someone saying, I'm from Toronto. I feel the same about the city. I just came back from Vancouver yesterday. Actually loved Vancouver. I've been there multiple times, and I still have the same love. My only problem with Vancouver is the cost of living, and there is serious homeless issue, which those people need to be helped. The rain can be depressing, as well as it rained a little more than the previous trips. I love the west end of Vancouver, North Van, Richmond, downtown Surrey, Delta, and all. If I had the money, I'd move there in a heartbeat. Vancouver rates are way nicer than Toronto, say because I live there and work in public transit. So I lived in both cities. Toronto, I had a job in Brampton when I was like 18 years old, 19 years old. And it was extremely, the rudeness from people, it was just phenomenal. I had one man spit in my face once. So, for no reason. And yeah, that's why I left Toronto originally, right? Then Buddy comments here, dude, sounds like you're talking about Seattle, only Canadian. And then someone else comments, says, Vancouver was the most antisocial city I have ever lived in. Horrible experience. Then someone else comments and says, I think Toronto, most of Quebec, and some of the U.S. cities are the most antisocial ones. Okay, so David Mao. Okay, so, but so he doesn't think Vancouver is. Okay. That is the main reason I want to move from Vancouver. That's what somebody else say. Perhaps you haven't lived in Calgary, Alberta, most antisocial city in Canada. 10 years growing up in Calgary, better in some ways than 10 years plus here, but antisocial and detached beyond belief. High school is every day. Got about 2 to 3 friends I see rarely. Then someone is try Windsor, Ontario, antisocial to the max, dry lifeness. And then someone else comments, I have the similar feeling moving from LA to New York City. People are superficial. They will want to talk to you if you're looking beach ready. Everybody's experiences are also different, but there are some thankfulness here. I'm sorry to hear these. I feel similar in Vancouver right now too, but I am also very busy. I don't have time to think of these things. Very true. Then someone says, you hit the nail on the head. And then did it again and again. I have thought pretty much of the same as you, especially the past 5 years. Don't be afraid to put, I'm not going to mention that because I don't want to get flagged, influence into the problem, especially, so that's going into race. I don't want to get my channel's already under enough heat. I don't want to get into flagness. Holy S, I work to get the PVT, working holiday visa, and go to Vancouver, but damn, these videos and critics about the toxic social climate and rainy weather convinced me to choose Montreal winter instead. Another person, everything was spot on. Vancouver is a beautiful city, but you can't walk a block downtown without seeing guys on the streets whacked out of their minds and avoiding getting hit by a car at 20 kilometers per hour faster than it should. I have the same list here in Los Angeles. I grew up in Vancouver, born and raised. $1 million for a shack, gray skies, gray buildings, gray streets, and don't forget the rain nonstop. And there is no snow, only gray slush, full of broke losers acting like they're rich, and they are adults living in their parents' dumpy apartment basements. Drugs, crime, weirdos who talk to themselves on the streets. Many times I've been flashed, and I could go on and on. Also, I am now a minority of my neighborhood, and people will steal off you consistently if you leave anything for a second. Blank stares. There is no community. I hate the place. Total dump. So glad I left the place. I'm shocked when people say it's a beautiful city. Magazine, writing liars. So to see such a dive, I will go visit for old friends, family, but I will never live there again. My family and friends have become so numb to it because they just stay there and that poor quality of life. House broke, bars on windows. Yeah, nice life. No, thank you. So these are people's opinions, right? So there's nothing super negative here in the comments. Someone says, okay, Mike, entitlement, you are so right. And then someone called me a retard. It has never rained 48 weeks straight, retard. Then somebody, I think, says he said 4 to 8 weeks straight. You should, then people are, yeah. Just people, yeah, okay. So, and I agree, Vancouver's totally overrated. I dread going there. Can't see why people would pay big money to live there when the fraction of the cost you could live in a city somewhere else desirable. You should move to Langley or Abbotsford. Merritt is so far. No, Merritt is perfect. It's Canada proper. It's like you're in Canada here. It's really good. I like it. Until it starts getting infected and everyone starts really, you know, then I got another place in mind. I got a place in mind, guys. Another one. So hold your horses. There should be no high-rise built in Vancouver without at least 3 floors or more. Social housing or affordable housing, they should not even get building permits till they sign an agreement. All offshore condo owners that are allowed to leave their property empty should be taxed at least 35%, with 20% going directly to building affordable housing for citizens. That's a good idea. France is charging 70% for vacant homes. Look it up if you think I'm making it up. Oh, wow, there's so many. Oh my god, I totally agree with you, buddy. I agree with all 10 reasons. I feel the same way. Plus, Maine and Hastings was just as bad. And then I'm going to skip that. I really like the entitlement thing. There's so many snobs there. So, you know, I'm not hating on Vancouver. I'm just kind of calling a spade a spade. And a lot more articles. Just a lot more, feedback on this. And I wanted to kind of... This is a year later, guys. I'm making this video. This is a year later from this the day I posted this video. And let me know what you guys think about that. Because it's tearing up our fabric. It's tearing up our way of life. It's tearing up our social... Just our socialness as humans is deteriorating. What is happening and why is this happening? Before this, I lived in Miami. I was in Miami Beach for like quite a bit of time. And it was very different. Neighbors knocking on the door. Hey, Mike, ¿cómo estás? Let's have some beer, man. Like, hey, it's barbecue. Then I have my best friend in Florida is from Jamaica. And we'd go on his boat all the time. We'd go to Bimini. We'd go to the Bahamas is in Bimini. And we'd go to all parts of the Caribbean together. We'd travel. It's so good, right? And everybody is just so very sociably. Everybody, like, you got a lot of Mexicans are very social. You got a lot of Colombians, Puerto Ricans. You got Americans, like white American. You got people from Jamaica, from Guyana, from everywhere, and everybody's just so, hey, what's going on, guys? What are you guys talking about? Tell me the joke. I want to laugh too. You know what I'm saying? It's different. It's a very different social. You know what I'm saying? Very social. You know, I lived in a gated community where it was a melting pot. I had neighbors from all over the world. Everybody learned English, which was good. I spoke. I was kind of ignorant, but when I was in Spanish groups, I always spoke Spanish. Always, 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 always. Because I wanted to keep my I wanted to continue and not forget Spanish, you know, which is very grateful today now, because I speak it every day, and it's really good. And let's look at this video here. Top 10, 6 months after leaving Vancouver. So let me adjust the audio here. Hey YouTubers, Mike Martin's here, Mike Martin's channel. Just outside the house. I'm going to put this video in the Rants and Lifestyle. I'm also going to put it in my Living the Dream series. Yeah. If you haven't watched Living the Dream series, please watch it. It's a series where I talk about buying a house out of town. And I totally convince myself into thinking that living in the city is a conspiracy. That it's not. You don't need to be part of a bigger agenda to make it in life. And, yeah, it's 6 months now, 6 months plus, and I'm here living in Merritt, British Columbia, Canada. And this is the house I bought for $260. It's enormous. It's on a 0.9 acre of land, and 6 months later, we'll say 6 months later, even though it's almost 7 months. I like it here. I really like this town a lot. I really like the people here. It's almost... I feel bad, almost like I didn't do this as earlier, maybe 2 years earlier, you know, before my son was born. I kind of wish I did it a bit earlier, but I didn't. Mind you, my business, you know, I was having staffing issues. I got that sorted out now. I'm selling the company in Vancouver for a pretty penny, and just gonna, you know, run the shop here. Watch my show, Starting a Business from Scratch.
That's a good show.
It's a really good series where I discuss or build my business here from scratch. And watch that series. It's a pretty good one, because everyone's saying retail's dead, and it's not dead. There's a lot of pulse left in retail. Lots of pulse. Anyways, it's 6 months. What are the pros? We'll start with some of the cons, if I have any cons. The cons are the smoke from the wildfires. We're getting a lot of forest fires out and about, just a couple of 100 miles from here. It's blowing. A couple of fires down in the Washington State area, and that's becoming the wind's blowing north, and it's becoming a problem. What else? Cons. Oh, you can only water your grass 3 days a week. That's one thing that's a con. These are first world problems, by the way. What else? I'm just trying to think what, like, really think of good. Okay, you don't have a mall. We don't have a super mall or something, but who goes to malls anymore, to be really honest with you? It's full of full of rude people. I'm just trying to think of proper cons. I live close to the highway, a main highway. I was trying to think. Usually one con would be living far away from a freeway. Oh, no international airport. That's one con, I guess. The closest one to here is Kamloops, which is 45 minutes away. And from Vancouver downtown to YVR, there's been times where it took me an hour to get there by taxi. And that's him taking the right route, trying to get me there as fast as possible, not to miss my flight. So it kind of balances in a way. Just really trying to think of cons. I don't have anything negative. What are the pros? Oh, there's so many pros. It's been 6+ months I've been outside of Vancouver, and now pros. There's so many. No traffic. My shop is a 15-minute walk. I want to walk to work, I can. I want to take my car to work because I'm bringing provisions and stuff. I can. I can bike to work, have a few beers while I'm working because I own my own business. I don't drink, but I'm saying I could do that if I want to. You know what I'm saying? I have the freedom to do what I want. Okay. What else? Traffic is basically that takes so much stress off your life when you don't have to drive in traffic. I know when I lived in Vancouver and I had to, let's say, go 3 blocks to go to Canada Post to mail something, I would almost get into 9 accidents. Literally, almost into 9 accidents, because the people, if I drive by the book and do it by the book, I would be in 9 accidents. I have to get out of the way or break the rules or whatever, not to collide into somebody that's illegally making turns or illegally changing lanes or illegally doing whatever. So that's one thing. That's a huge stress release. What else? Friendly. Everyone says hi. This is great. All my neighbors are good people. They're either law enforcement, firefighters, mill workers, a lot of great people, beautiful people. I love my neighbors. My neighbors are fantastic. They always check on me. They knock on my door and check on me. We haven't seen you outside in a few days making a video. Are you okay? You know what I'm saying? What else? There's lots of pros. Just living. Okay, let me give you an example of living, what I'm talking about living. Did you ever go on a vacation for 2 weeks, 3 weeks? And you get back and you go back into the workforce and you wish you were still on vacation and you wish you had that continuing and you don't want to live this work lifestyle day to day and stuff? This is what I get here, that feeling. Not that I'm on vacation, but I feel more grounded. I feel more in tune with people. I feel more in tune with the community. I feel more part of everything than I ever did. When I was in the big city, it was really hard to tap in. Like, I'll give you an example. All the people at the radio station, I know them. They're good people. They've come by my shop. They're helping me with advertising my store, and it's dirt cheap in comparison to if I was to do it in Vancouver. And then you're at ground level with everybody, you know? The newspaper. They came by to interview me in the local newspaper. We're happy that you're in town and this and that. And I've had many people come to my store, my wife's store, to welcome us to the community. And I'm really grateful for that, you know. It's that feeling of acceptance in community. In a big city, you will never feel that acceptance unless you're a mayor and people are kissing your butt, or you're like a huge political member in the parliament where you're making decisions that affect people's lives and people really...
So that's basically that one there. Kind of wanted to show that one to you guys. And I can't believe it. I just can't believe, looking at it now, I can't believe how out of tune I was when I was living in the big city. I don't know, maybe just city life isn't for me, even though I lived in big cities all my life. I think things have changed so much that I haven't grown accustomed to the change. And I like to be happy and talk to people and be, kind of like a New York kind of state of mind where everyone's talking. And I remember when I was in the subway in New York, I had like 26 conversations with different people just in a 10-minute drive, 10-minute commute, So there's an article here. Now, I want to know what you guys think. Is the housing crisis or debt level fueling this hate, this divide in wealth, this entitlement? Is this becoming more of a is this the psychological side of the housing crisis? Could this be the psychological side of psychologically? A lot of people are worried, someone's going to lose everything and they're going to lose their shirts. I think it's even more beyond that. I think it's a damaging psychological thing. You know what I'm saying? So now look, rude people secretly impress us even though we don't really like them. So this is the FU boys here. You see that? We don't like rude people. At least that's what we tell ourselves. The reality is we allow them to be rude on some level. We are impressed with their rudeness. So impressed, in fact, that sometimes we ask them to be president. Oh, okay. This one is just bashing Donald Trump. But I thought it was a good article. It's just everything is about Donald Trump. So I want to know what you guys think. Rudeness. Why are people more... Let's look that up. Why are people more rude? Here we go. Here we go. How rude behavior is becoming the new normal in America. So, I mean, this goes for everything else, right? Good manners and good behavior are almost out of style in the U.S. according to numerous research studies conducted recently and from years ago. An article published HRB says the following: nearly everybody who experiences workplace incivility responds in a negative way, in some cases overly retaliating. Employees are less creative when they feel disrespected and may get fed up and leave. About half deliberately decrease their effort or lower their quality of their work. So what I'm trying to get to is, does the debt level and people coming to grips of their situation, especially people in student loans, were promised these incredibly well-paid jobs, but it's not there for them. A majority of people are not getting the jobs they were promised, so they got to go into the fast food industry or in some different industry that pays them 1/10 of what they were promised. Is this stemming towards hate and greed, because and debt load, right? Does that combination work? You know, I'm thinking that psychologically it's a lot deeper. It is a lot deeper, and it's tearing the fabric of our society apart. I wish I was wrong about this. I don't know. It's just my opinion. I'm going to leave it at that right now, guys. I want to know what you guys think, because it just, I don't understand why one person would hate another person for anything. You know what I'm saying? It's so much easier to love, guys. You know, if you have a friend or somebody you cut off, like years back or something, call them and tell them, you know, and they were a good friend you had for years. Just call them back and tell them you love them, man. Just call them, say, I love you, man. I love you, friend. I love you. What? I'm sorry. Maybe you were right, even though they weren't. But just, you know, having the right people in your life for so many years, maybe bringing some of that back in your life might change might even help you in other ways. So I don't want to get all psychological here, because I'm no doctor and I don't know anything. But what I do know is that we're becoming more and more rude and distant and than ever before. And there's got to be some way for us to come together hand in hand and be just love each other. That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying to change water into wine. I'm just asking to love your neighbor, love your coworkers, you know, love your family. Speaking of family, my son's here. Yeah.
I'm gonna get a bowl and shoot.
Okay, vamos para cima, okay? Vamos para cima. Anyways, I'm gonna go play some PlayStation 3 with my son. It's kind of cold out. It's not cold, it's just snowy and wet. I kind of wanted to do other stuff, but that's okay. You know what? I got the space to do what I need now, because I'm out of the city. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below, and thanks for watching.